Cô gửi cho em share cho cô.
Okay, not zoom. Don't use zooming. You just use
Yes, okay.
the icon like a screen
Yeah, just
near the.
yeah,
Is it?
it's okay.
Is that all? Okay, okay. Thank you for waiting me. Sorry. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
So good morning, everyone. It's my great honor to be here online at the 13th International Conference on Austroasiatic Linguistics. My name is Kieu, as you know, from Văn Hiến University, Vietnam, and today I'm delighted to share my study title, Digital Multilingualism in Vietnam, Austroasiatic Community, Social Linguistics, Insights and English Digital Literacy Innovations. So now let me show you what my name's and my title. Welcome all of you to my presentation. So now first one, I'd like you try to look at a little bit about my map. Okay, as you see, it's in Vietnam, from the northern to the south. And the research context linguistic diversity digital revolution. So as you know, Vietnam is home to over 50 ethnic groups, exactly 54 ethnic groups, and the also Asiatic languages represent some of the country's oldest linguistic heritages. So this research focuses on 4 representative community, Muong in the north, as you see in the map, Khmer in the Mekong Delta, and Bana in the Central Highlands, and Stiang in the southwest. In these multilingual environments, community members constantly balance 3 layers of identity: heritage, national, and global. So the rise of social media, especially Zalo, Facebook, and Twitter, has opened a new arena where languages mix identities and negotiated, and translation are reinterpreted through digital expression. So you see that this research explores how digital communication reshape language vitality and educational possibility. So now let me move on to the research question. This study guided by 3 key questions. The question number 1 is about digital practices. We focus on the question how also Asiatic speakers employ code switching and languaging online. The second question focuses on identity construction. By using question what these digital practices reveal about identity construction across generations here. And last but not least, the question number 2 about the pedagogical innovation. So we focus on the answer of the question, how can this insight inform English digital literacy pedagogy in multicultural settings? So here, I'd like you to try to focus on the theoretical framework. So the picture show you, the figure show you the integrated finding framework from digital practices by using code switching and languaging patterns by using 3 framework: comparative contrastive analysis, social linguistic interpretation, and pedagogical translation. So here, I'd like you try to see social linguistic and multilingualism. And the second framework, I think that I adopted a transdisciplinary approach combining 3 lenses, as you see. Yeah, the number 3 is digital literacy pedagogy. to integrate these findings into cultural responsive classroom models, while the comparative contrastive linguistic to examine contact endures structure between Austroasiatic, Vietnamese, and English. In terms of social linguistic of multilingualism, we combine all to interpret code switching as socially situated practices. How do we do in the methodology? We can say that we use a rigorous mixed method design to find out the findings. This research uses a mixed method design, as you see, combining digital ethnography, surveys, and linguistic analysis. Data came from one survey responses. I mean that one participant across 4 communities, Mường, Khmer, and Bana. Okay, and seeing it, you see, from March to August 2024. We analyze as well 300 digital posts, text from Zalo, Facebook, and X platform. That means the Twister, for example. Yeah, and 16 ethnographic sections ensuring ethical consent and confidentially throughout. So let me show you the participants. Yes, see. The ethical protocol ensure anonymity and community consent throughout, as you see, continuous learning circles. This may be my proposal for the yeah. So we say that yes, keep going. Yeah. DTPF, that means multilingual, digital translanguaging pedagogical framework I propose in order to find some keys. The key findings about code switching pattern across platforms, analysis of 300, as you see in the previous slide, digital posts reveal that code switching and translanguaging are the default modes of communication among Austroasiatic users online. 3 dominant patterns emerge across platforms. As you see, the Facebook, Zalo, and Twitter. So just back. Yeah. Now let me move on to the next slides about 3 types of digital multilingualism. So the first one, I think that the Vietnam, the survey, you see, the pattern differ from free region by 3 Asian region, as you see, but now you actively lexical boring. Yeah, finding shows that code switching and translanguaging are the default modes of digital communication among Asiatic user. 3 main patterns emerge, like lexical borrowing of English each term. For example, English terminology terms integrate into Vietnamese and heritage sentences like temper, hôm nay có live stream, nhớ share nha. So this is from the Khmer user. That means the temple today has a live stream. Remember to share to us. So reflect digital English, pragmatic prestige, and normalization as an index of the minority. And the next one, the next types of digital multilingualism is a hybrid causal construction. For example, phrase level alternation are combining multiple linguistic structure like let's go picnic. Chiều nay, mình chuẩn bị xôi banana style nhé. So this is the, in English structure, Vietnamese connection, local cultural markers as well. And that means let's go picnic this afternoon. We prepare the sweet rice banana style. Okay, so demonstrate multilingual agility and cultural pride simultaneously. So you see, then the next times of digital multilingualism is a pragmatic translanguaging. So you see, strategic code mixing for solidarity and intimacy and in social relationship. For example, mai đi học nhé, don't be late nha. Tớ chờ ngoài cổng. That means in English, tomorrow, going to school, don't be late. Okay, I'm waiting you at the gate, for example. So you see, the blending is not random, but strategically motivated to express rational nuisance and available in single language. So now let me move on to the regional variation in digital language use. Yeah, the pattern, yes, you see, differ by regions from the north to the south. The Central Highland Bana for representative, the Bana youth actively branch Bana style post to assess ethnic pride. However, the Mekong Delta, in Mekong Delta, Khmer combine Khmer scripts with Vietnamese and English to bridge sacred and global sphere, for example, here. And from the north, we can see the north provinces like Muong language are more Vietnamese dominant, reflected ongoing shift in language vitality. So you can see generality, youth view missing as a empowerment, while elders value purity and preservation. Yet this tension produces continuity through transformation, not conflict. So I can show you then what the So now let me move on to the next one, the structural innovation where language colleague. Comparative analysis to review fascinating context-induced changes. Politeness marker integration. We can see that Khmer heritage practical na ba embodied in Vietnamese discourse introduce new politeness guardians. For example, cảm ơn bạn na. So thank you na. Show pragmatic borrowing, enriching Vietnamese interactional rhetoric. Repeated. In aspectual hybridization, so you can see Bana expectual marker co-occur with English verbs in morphosyntactic blending. For example, tôi đã finish project rồi. That means I finished project already. Signal new mix code similar to multilingual globality. In terms of phonological adaptations, English term localized phonetically in Khmer from writing through vernacular globalization. For example, please try to remember live stream, for example, like share, for example. So here you can see a little bit about the phonological adaptation of English term in Khmer scripts, such as live stream. This innovation show that digital spaces are living local laboratories where language collect and co-involved. Now let me move on to the identity construction through digital multilingualism. Survey result that indicates that participants reject monolingual purity ideologies. Okay. They see multilingual mixing not as interference, but as identity performance, deliberate creative acts of belonging. As one comment on what participants said, when I write in both English and Khmer, I feel I belong to a world. So this is from the participants age 17. Digital multilingualism allows identity pluralization rather than replacement, positioning speaker as active agents in global discourse. So now I'd like to move to the digital translanguaging pedagogical framework as I proposed. The next slide is a practical classroom applications. So from this finding, I propose this cyclical model connecting digital observation and classroom practice. So you see that the step of the DTPF is observe, analyze, integrate, reflect, and revest. So now I'd like you try to move to the heritage integrated writing. To sustain digital multilingualism, 3 policy directions are proposed, as you see on the slide. Yeah, 3 policy direction are proposed. A student for what the heritage integrated writing, student create English text intentionally incorporating Khmer politeness particle, while Bana discourse marker or Muang Kaiship terms, then write commentaries explaining cultural meaning, validate linguistic identity while building meta-linguistic awareness. In terms of multimodal production projects, students produce a bilingual blog, podcast, or TikTok video blending English and heritage languages, document local tradition with global captions, strengthening production skill and intercultural competence. How about the AI enhanced learning tools? Leverage AI chatbot train on parallel English Khmer or English Bana Corpora for personalized feedback and gamified translation challenges. Connect linguistic structure while building digital literacy. Now we moved on to the AI as a collaborative interlocutor, not replacement. We define that the trilingual continuum, finding points of dynamic trilingual continuum where heritage language. So we can see that 3 key functions: linguistic mediation, that means AI translation for meta-linguistic comparison and cultural critique, while personalized feedback, real-time suggestion on tone and structure while maintaining identity. And the another function is data-driven assessment, process-oriented rubrics emphasizing creativity and cultural awareness. So this approach to foster dialogic learning. So, yeah, you see. So now I'd like you trying to move to the another policy implication of national vision about in terms of language education policy reforms, embed digital multilingualism models into national circular and teacher training, develop trans-languaging-based assessment rubrics that follow hybrid language creativity as evidence of multilingual competence. In terms of digital innovation infrastructures, establish national Austroasiatic Digital Archive, NADE, using AI for speech recognition, machine translation, and text-to-speech. Create AI-enhanced learning platform, personalizing English and heritage language instruction. Last but not least, is about cultural sustainability programs. Fund community-based digital storytelling project where youth and elders collaborate. Incentivize, create works featuring multilingual innovation through grants and scholarship for digital cultural and partnerships. So there's maybe some example demonstrate that successful digital multilingualism requires policy ecosystem where educational empowerment intersects. Now I'd like to move to very quickly about the multilingual continuum, reframing language role. Rather than competition, our finding reveals a dynamic trilingual ecosystem where each language serves distinct but complementary function. There's maybe three function, as you see, language layer, and social linguistic function and educational implication. About in terms of heritage languages, that means Austroasiatic, you can see that in social linguistic function, we can identify anchoring cultural intimacy, ritual expression. However, in educational implication, its resources for critical literacy and heritage-based projects. How about the Vietnamese? Vietnamese, as you see, that our mother tongue. So national cohesion, mutual interoperability, civics participation in terms of social linguistic function. However, the bridge language for bilingual scaffolding and translation belong to educational implication. Last but not least, about English, because nowadays English in Vietnam is not just foreign language, but it is maybe the second language in the future, in the very near future. So English is not here in terms of social linguistic function, is global, not only global visibility, digital citizenship, symbolic capitals. However, the educational implication gateway to international communication and AI literacy. So this model challenges monolingual assumption and positions linguistic fluidity as the new norms of 21st century education, aligning with global English theory. So now, very quickly, we move on to the study contribution across discipline. So there's maybe four contribution. The first one about the social linguistic theory, advanced digital social linguistics by documenting how minority languages survive and adapt in digital ecologies, challenges, deficit, and narratives and inevitable language decline. How, in terms of comparative contrastive linguistics, reverse hybrid construction, reshaping, understand of language, contact phenomena in Southeast Asia, expanding typological knowledge of Austroasiatic language family. In terms of applied linguistics and pedagogies, it offers blueprints for integrating heritage linguistic features into English digital literacy curricula, ensuring minority learners engage meaningfully with global communication. And of course, about the language policy, highlights need to rethink education and revitalization strategies in light of digital transformation, advocating for institutional support of digital multilingual ecosystems. So now I'd like to move to the last one, the conclusion. From margins to create center, about the key takeaway. Vietnam's Austroasiatic community demonstrate linguistic resilience through digital multilingual innovation, not language loss. And what the second conclusion is, digital spaces functions as a collaborators of identity performance, where heritage, national, and global languages converge creatively. Next, the digital translanguaging pedagogical framework offers feasible, scalable solution for culturally responsive English educations. And last but not least is a policy ecosystem integrating education. AI technology and community empowerment consistent linguistic diversity in the digital age. A vision now about the little bit about the future study. This study reposition Austroasiatic speaker not as marginalized user, but as innovators of hybrid communicative norms. Digital multilingualism becomes a question of identity, equity, and imagination, inviting us to envision a more plural, interconnected world where every utterance is an act of cultural continuity. So here is comparative contrasted diagram show freeways contact features in my study. Now, thank you very much for all of you for what to listen very carefully. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Van. That was really, really fascinating. So we have plenty of opportunity for discussion. I don't see any questions in the chat, but does anyone want to raise their hand and offer a question at this point? Oh yes, so there's a question from Mark Alves. Mark, do you want to speak to that?
Well, yeah, okay.
Okay.
So I would like to know the situations in which the Bahnar and Khmer Krom speakers, yes, are communicating. What are they? What are the digital platforms that where they're interacting, and how did you collect this data?
Okay, thank you very much for your questions. So, you know that I collected from my data from March to August 2024, and it's not very easy for me to come to the Bahnar or Khmer in the south and staying in Muong in the north, you see. And as I explained in my presentation, so you can see that we gather, so how many? 100, yeah, 100 participants to be interviewed by using Kieu language, because you know in Vietnam we have 54 minorities, you see. So there's maybe a little bit not very easy for me to talk to the participants in Bana, because we just talk by using Kieu prominence in Vietnam, the prominent language in Vietnam. So this is maybe done one of the difficult in my collecting data when I gather the conducted the studies. Okay, yeah, and the second ways of collecting from Bana is by using platform. Yeah, platform. I divide into two types of generation. The first one, youth, and the second, elder. So how can they use the sentence online? For example, on Facebook, they chat to each other how to what they collect, and I collect, and and I gather from the Google form as well. That's it. Okay.
Yes,
Mark, did
thank
that
you.
answer your question?
Yes, somewhat. I see that Yang has a question there.
Yes.
Yes.
Zhang, so you please put your
Zhang.
question. Zhang?
Most of the cases I mentioned were English mixed code without in Vietnamese utterance. So how does the ethnic? Yes, you know, Zhang, I'm because I'm teaching right now, so my my students comes from a lot of provinces in Vietnam. So I always ask them to in my conducting of research, Zhang. Not only the people who lives there, for example, the elder. Okay, so I could like I have to come there and interview them. But for the youth, we can use my students who are studying in my classroom. Yeah. Yes, of course, in English.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Sometimes in Vietnamese as well, because how they use Vietnamese, that means the Kieu language in terms of the Khmer or Bana or Stieng, their language. Okay.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, I just want to explain my question is that, you know, for example, we take Khmer people. Yeah, Khmer people speak Vietnamese in Khmer language. Okay.
Yeah.
So in some cases they will speak Vietnamese and they will mix some English cards like deadline or what the examples you mentioned. Okay, in their Vietnamese utterances. So what is the difference between a Khmer people using English in their Vietnamese utterances and a Vietnamese people who do the same thing, you know? So I want to know if their ethnicity Khmer or Bana or you know, makes sense in this case. So I think all of them are speaking Vietnamese and mixed the cut, you know, mixed the English cut, and that is a common phenomenon, you know. Now in Vietnam they mix, So the thing is that if you take their origin, I mean their ethnic origin, how can you see the difference? how can you see the differences? Because for me, is all of them are speaking Vietnamese and
Yeah.
mix the consonants. You know,
Mm.
that's what I wanted to mean. So could you provide more insights on this?
Yeah, you know that I'm teaching English in my classroom. So because we do the research, this research, so we should use the English as the not only foreign language in the, in my classroom. So always I ask the student not only using the their own language, but also the Vietnamese, that means the king prominence language, and the English as well, because in my teaching, I should know how to overcome the difficulties for the Vietnamese who live who have the multilingual languages. For example, they know their own language, but they have to know the king language and English as well. So this is maybe very difficult, but I try my best to ask the students to use the English as well, not just Vietnamese utterance, but also English. Yeah. Is it Giang?
Thank
Is it
you.
okay?
Thank you very much.
This is
So-
maybe very difficult.
I'm sorry, may I
So-
ask a questions?
Okay, please.
Go ahead.
And if your student cannot use English to apply what you say is in English, how can you solve the problem? Because the level in the class, maybe they are not the same. So some can understand you 100%, but some just only 50%. And of course, they cannot use English
Mhm.
to spread their idea to you. What would you do? Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for your question. And this is maybe I met a lot on what occasions in my classroom. You know, the levels of our students are not the same, not balanced. So, but you know that everyone, that means a student comes from the minority. I mean, that means they have at least 2 languages. And when they learn more about, for example, English, this is not very difficult for them to be adapted to the new language. Can you see it? So this is I met a lot of Vietnamese students who comes from Khmer, and when I went to the north of Vietnam, for example, Muong, and they can speak English very well, especially the little, the children. I think so. For example, when I went to Sapa, or this is maybe the travel place where everyone should speak English, but I can see that their action, their pronunciation is very well, very good. I think they can
Yes,
speak
okay.
English well.
Thank you for your reply. But even the children, as you mentioned, the children in Sabah, they can use English, but
Yeah.
it's just only the daily conversation,
Mhm.
not in the classroom. They know
Yeah.
about pronunciation. They can pronounce wonderfully. Maybe they still make mistake in writing. It is
Mhm.
really a problem for Vietnamese teachers. Thank you for
Yes.
your reply.
Mhm. Yeah, I've met a lot of students who can speak English not very well. However, this is maybe for just some cases, but almost my students who comes from Khmer or Bana or somewhere in the south or in the middle or central Vietnam, they can speak English well. I don't know. Sorry, Tai. I met a lot. Yeah. So that is the reason why I flash, and it's a flash in my mind. Why they comes from the minority but can speak English well better than the student who lives in Ho Chi Minh City, for example. Just a sum.
Okay, Van, I have a question for you.
Yeah, please proceed. Well,
So-
thank you very much.
So you make a point about the communities using the social media and achieving linguistic resilience. So to what extent are the Khmer and Bana, for example, using their heritage language as the matrix language in their social media? You understand the question?
Not yet. Thank you. Sorry. Now, please again.
Okay. To what extent are the Khmer and Bana using their heritage language as the matrix language in their social media?
You know that social media is nowadays not very far from the ways of thinking in Vietnam, in Vietnamese people, especially the youth. Even though not only the four representatives from Mường, Khmer, Bana, and still, but also the other, I mean that 54 minorities in Vietnam can use a platform for connect to each other, especially Zalo in Vietnam is very popular. And so that is the reason why I think that I can conduct the research in order to assess how they can communicate to each other by using platform, for example, Zalo and Twitter or Instagrams or Facebook. So this is maybe not very new, not very novel ways of doing research nowadays. Is it the answers?
So, no, I'm wondering to what extent they're using Bana, for example, instead of Vietnamese in their social media, in their platforms.
Yeah, you know that even though we have 54 minorities in Vietnam and which has 54 languages, then what of theirs? However, they have to speak King language as the national language in Vietnam. So they can use the King language in order to connect to each other in the society. Just in community,
Okay, I understand.
in their community, they can connect to each other by using Bana or Khmer or something like that. But however, to the community, the society, they can connect to each other by using the King language.
I understand your point now. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much.
Are there any other questions? If there's no further questions, that's been a very long but interesting presentation. So I think we can wind up here and thank our speaker and reconvene at 10:45 for the next presentation. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much for all of you for listening to my presentation. Thank you. Thank you.